Welcome back. Money in the Bank ladder match was the first match of the night. And at first I was like, what the hell? Now I think I know why they did it. Because the outcome was disappointing as fuck. Sheamus fucking wins? Really? Like, Roman Reigns would have been predictable. Okay. But it would have been good. Dolph Ziggler, I would have been fine with. Neville, I would have been cool with. Kofi Kingston, shit, that would have been awesome. Sheamus was really the only guy that I didn't, in any circumstance, want to win this match. And, I wasn't really even that impressed with the match itself. So it was like, the ladder match itself is disappointing. And then the ending is just, Bray Wyatt pops up and Sheamus fucking wins. Definitely killed my mood. And I'm going to kind of spoil it. This pay-per-view is not one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. I actually, there's only two things that I really liked about it. That's Owens and Cena and the world title match. Everything else falls short. And this ladder match was a huge, huge disappointment. Because not only did I think this was going to be the best match of the night, I figured it would be, we were talking about ideas of like Roman Reigns turning heel and would it be crazy if like Kane fucking won and he cashes in against Seth Rollins and do something at Battleground or whatever, like all these different ideas, and they go with Sheamus?
Yep, this was bad.
Yeah.
There was a lot bad about this match. For starters, the placement. And I know some douchebag was fucking gut hanging over the top of his keyboard's gonna go, well, sometimes they started shows with the main event. Fuck off, this wasn't the case.
Hey, it's not hanging over it.
The pay-per-view is called Money in the Bank. The main attraction should be the Money in the Bank ladder match. If you are not going to do two of these, then it needs to go on last. Or at least second to last, below the title match. That I would have been okay with.
Mm-hmm.
The placement devalued it. It devalued the entire pay-per-view, and I'm not happy with it. Now, as far as Sheamus winning goes, Sheamus is a guy that they have tried to push, and push hard several times. Now, whilst he is a talented hand, he is not connected with the audience. He is never connected with the audience.
No. Under any of his characters.
There is not one point in my life where I can say I've connected with Sheamus' character and I've been interested in seeing what he wants to do next week.
No.
Back when he initially had that WWE Championship run, the only buzz around him was, so when's he going to lose it?
And why did he win it to begin with?
And I think that was the initial decline. He got pushed too fast. He beat John Cena. Then I think his first title defense was a heel versus heel match with Randy Orton on fucking Royal Rumble. It was something along those lines. He had a very shitty title run, and his SmackDown run left little to be desired. And whilst I appreciate they're doing something different with him, he's already fell back into that stagnant role where he found himself before he turned babyface again. The briefcase isn't going to change that. The only difference now is there's some obnoxious cunt with a mohawk with a giant fucking case.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we're to looking at statistics, most of the guys that win this case normally have someone invested in them, and they're going to get a surprise title win. I don't want to see Sheamus hold that belt. I don't want to see him hold it over Brock. I don't want to see him hold it over Seth, Roman, Dean. Fuck, I would rather see Bray Wyatt hold the belt than Sheamus.
Me too.
He is not a main eventer. He is barely an upper mid-card. He is a mid-card guy. And that's okay. Not everybody's meant to be a main eventer.
In an environment where somebody like a Dolph Ziggler, somebody like Kane, these guys, we don't have 2 world titles anymore. They are perfectly capable of being upper mid-carders for the rest of their careers and making that kind of division look great. I'd be fine. Like, I'm a big fan of Ziggler. I'd be fine if he never won a world title again. Because he can win the Intercontinental and the US title and just be, like, dominant in that kind of area for a couple of years more to come and be that guy that puts over the younger talent and works with people and, is like a name in the area and stuff like that. And Sheamus seemed like he was kind of bound for that too. And I just get a feeling that, like, The only reason that they gave him this Money in the Bank thing is because they are refusing to see that.
First of all, I have to disagree with Wago a little bit on something. As far as the Money in the Bank contract ladder match opening up the pay-per-view, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing all the time. If it works into the storyline where there's an air of mystery as to the winner maybe cashing in at the end of the night. But with Sheamus, because if Roman Reigns would have won, then, I would have thought maybe, like Mike and some other people were speculating, maybe Roman Reigns cashes in at the end, turns heel. I would have been okay with that. But since Sheamus won, I knew damn well he was not going to cash in that night. And so it did kind of feel like a waste with the positioning at that point. The match itself, not one of the best Money in the Bank matches I've ever seen. The ending was pretty crappy. The Bray Wyatt spot was kind of out of nowhere and didn't work, in my opinion. I don't, why. I understand he kept Bray Wyatt out of that match, but it just seems forced. And I was very disappointed with this match overall, especially the fact that Sheamus won. Who cares? Who are these people who are really behind Sheamus? Like you were saying before, whether he's a heel or a babyface or whichever character persona they're giving him, he's not as over as the company acts like he is. Mm-hmm. So talk about people that they're shoving down our throats. Roman Reigns, I would have been okay with him getting the Money in the Bank. Sheamus, Randy Orton, I probably wouldn't want to see that either. But yeah, everybody else, like you said, Neville, Kane, Ziggler, Kofi, Reigns, I would have been okay with any of them getting it. I don't want to see Sheamus with that Money in the Bank briefcase and the title shot, let alone I don't want to see him with the title, like you guys were saying. He bores me. I'm sorry. Sheamus bores me.
And who is he going to cash in on? Let's just say somewhere down the line, Roman Reigns, I would assume, is the person to beat Seth Rollins for the title. I don't want to see Roman Reigns versus Sheamus. I definitely don't want to see Sheamus going to WrestleMania as the champion. They can't do that. No. If you look at the people that are lined up for WrestleMania next year, or even potentially lined up, we've got to deal with Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, who knows, maybe Daniel Bryan, maybe not, Randy Orton, Kane, you've got Dolph Ziggler, you've got John Cena, Kevin Owens, Sting, Triple H, Undertaker, Bray Wyatt, Brock Lesnar, maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin, maybe Hulk Hogan. We've got 20 fucking names here of people that are going to be on the card. Sheamus cannot be the world heavyweight champion. Out of all those names, you can't go, yeah, but Sheamus takes precedent over them. No matter who he's fighting. It could be Sheamus versus fucking Hulk Hogan versus John Cena versus Brock Lesnar versus whatever, and it's Sheamus is not somebody that should be in the match. There's nothing that is going to convince me that Sheamus is worth this. And the only two ways that I could see them getting anything out of this Money in the Bank run is a, retroactive kind of abortion of it. Either you have Sheamus cash in and lose. You set up Roman Reigns or somebody, maybe Brock Lesnar beats Seth Rollins for the title and Sheamus tries to cash in, doesn't end up doing it, and feuds with that person for a month or two. And then he's pushed out of the picture. Then it's well, you just wasted Money in the Bank. Or you wait until almost the next Money in the Bank before you have him try to cash in. And still, I don't want to see him as the fucking champion. I don't think there's anything that can be a worthwhile enough reason to convince me that Sheamus should either be fighting for the world title or be the champion. You take somebody like Kofi Kingston or Neville, yeah, they might not be, in the position to do that, but at the very least, I would be intrigued. I think that you guys would agree with me on that. If Neville won, it would be wow, this is too fast. But, and that little but would be enough.
Exactly. I'd be curious to see where they're going to take it. It would have been too fast, but I think it would have developed a storyline in a proper way. With Sheamus, what storyline are they going to progress with him holding the case that I'm going to care about? I can't think of anything.
And another thing, do you guys remember anything from this match? I purposely have not looked at my notes yet, but I can't remember a single spot.
There was nothing about this match which captivated me and made me interested. It's like, this was very much a dud Money in the Bank ladder match. There were a few high spots in there, but nothing significantly amazing other than Neville being Neville. And even he didn't do too much. So, it was an opening match. It never should be an opening match, because they limit themselves on what they can do as an opening match. If you give them too much, you burn out your audience before they even get fucking going.
The only real spot that I remember from it, besides the interference with Bray Wyatt, is when they were in the corner. Reigns had set up the ladder in the corner. If I'm remembering this correctly, I haven't gone back and watched the match since it aired on Sunday. But Roman Reigns does a powerbomb of Kofi onto the ladder in the corner. And that looked like it hurt a lot because, he's hit that straight on. And then he goes and follows that up by powerbombing Neville on top of Kofi on the ladder.
True.
So that I thought that was an all right spot.
And Roman jumped over the top rope at one point.
Yeah, that was kind of goofy. Yeah.
But that's like, this is your Money in the Bank match for the year. This usually is one of the best matches of the year. And one of the most important pay-per-views, and something that's like really like, wow, this person won. I can't believe that that's happened. Let's go check what's happening next. I can't wait to see when this person catches in. And it's like, ugh. So what a terrible way to start off a pay-per-view.
I mean, as far as the pay-per-view goes, I'm glad it was on the network, and I do the network for the $9.99, because if I would have been paying the normal pay-per-view price for that, I would have been sorely disappointed. I mean, I was still disappointed, but not as much as I would have been.
When the fucking name of the match of the pay-per-view doesn't deliver, it's not a good sign. Period.
Especially at the start of the night where you're like, well, there goes that thing that I was looking forward to. I wonder what this other shit's going to be. Oh, can't wait, because the next match we're going to talk about is Nikki Bella versus Paige. Ooh, like that was a great way to follow that up, wasn't it? So, tell us what you think. Is Sheamus going to do something good with the Money in the Bank briefcase, or are you as pissed off as we are? And if you have any good suggestions of what they can do with this to kind of make up for it, maybe you want to see them have him drop the briefcase to somebody, or fuck, who knows? Maybe you really love Sheamus. Argue for him in the comments below. I'm curious. Next part, you're going to hate us because we got to talk about the Divas, and we are not going to be too receptive.